So many of us are looking for answers to our questions in life. And because we're in that rat race or that, wheel of life that's just turning and turning, we never kind of pause for a moment to contemplate the answers. And that in that space of stillness, surrounded by nature, surrounded by love, surrounded by good food, surrounded by breath, that we're able to see those windows opening up and kind of see different possibilities of what our life can be.
Hi, Yogi Aaron. We're here today.
Hey, guys.
Yogi
Hi.
Aaron from Blue Osa in Costa Rica. I think technically it's Blue Osa Yoga Retreat and Spa in Costa Rica, if that's the full name.
That's the full name.
I was just checking you out. I'm really excited because I was in Costa Rica in 2024 and did a road trip of the Nicoya Peninsula. And I reached out to several retreat centers in Nicoya, but I reached out to Yogi Aaron as well, but it was out of the way. And so I'm really glad that we were able to connect and have this conversation. And just for people to see where this is, I'm going to share my screen. So if we're looking at Central America, coming into Costa Rica, so we're going to see a bunch of videos come out from Retreat Finder on the Nicoya Peninsula. We visited Tamarindo, Nosara, and Santa Teresa. The Blue Osa is down here in a what looks like a similar shaped peninsula, but a little bit smaller. And on the inside track, I tried going into satellite mode, but Google didn't have a good day that day. I think there's a cloud overshadowing the retreat center. So you're kind of like hidden here. But I think generally you got a lot of blue skies.
Yes.
How about we start off and you just sort of, now that we have the kind of bearings, start off and tell us about the history. I know you're one of the sort of institutions, retreat center institutions in Costa Rica. So tell us about the history of Blue Osa and how you came about to be kind of where you're at.
So, first of all, I've never been referred to as an institution, so I take great pride in that. Thank you. I'm gonna go out into my day. I'm an institution.
You're one of the pillars of the Costa Rica scene out there.
So actually, it's kind of funny you say that because as you were talking, I was just thinking about the very first time I went to Costa Rica, which was back in 2004. It was January 2004. And previous to that trip, I had done a bit of research on the different retreat centers available in Costa Rica. Some of my students had suggested to go there, so I used the Google machine, which, keep in mind, this is the end of 2003. So there wasn't a lot available, either because people hadn't put their websites up or just because of whatever. So I actually went on my...
in 2002. Retreat Finder was actually founded in 2002. So we were just a fledgling ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, it was just all a new thing and there wasn't a lot available. The big three that I did find was this place in San Jose, Costa Rica, which the name has just escaped me. I think it's called Pura Vida. There is another place on the East Coast called Samara. I always pronounce it wrong. And then the place that I had found, which was on the Osa Peninsula. And so I went to the Osa Peninsula first, and I actually only ended up making it to two of the retreat centers, this place on the Osa and then the one in San Jose. And the one in San Jose was, just as a side note, this was back when in Yoga Journal was in print. Remember the days when magazines were actually printed?
You could smell it. Yeah, that fresh magazine smell. Yeah. I remember.
It was so long ago. But they always had a full page ad and it always captured my attention because it was just such a stunning photo. And then I ended up on the Osa and I just fell in love. I actually remember having thoughts back then of, this is a place where I could live. And so I went to the retreat center. I ended up doing actually 4 retreats there. But during the third retreat, I found this property, Blue Osa, and it called to me. I remember driving down the road. this dirt road, and I passed this property with a Century 21 sign outside of it, looked inside, and there was this tunnel of bougainvilleas and hibiscus flowers. And of course, this was in February, so February they're in full bloom at that moment. And at the end of the tunnel was this beautiful view of this turquoise ocean, and it just called to me. And the sun had been shining down, and I had some friends in the car, and they were like, "Aaron, that would be a great place for a yoga retreat center." Well, be careful what you say. Our words manifest reality, right?
That's right.
The retreat center
So,
emerges from from the ether.
yeah,
So it's
but
on the
in all
Pacific
honesty,
side.
I didn't know much about Nicoya, and I think like the Nicoya really started to emerge about 5 years later as this utopia for yoga retreats. And so the Osa Peninsula, a lot of people don't know this, but and I'm not being hyperbolic when I say this, it really is one of the crown jewels of the world. And I'll repeat that for the cheap seats in the back. The crown jewels of the world, not just in Costa
Wow.
Rica. And I say that because we are what is on the Osa Peninsula is the Corcovado National Park, and it's one of the places where you can go and see things you've never seen before. National Geographic has said that the Osa Peninsula contains 2.5% of the Earth's biodiversity. So it's one of the most biodiverse, dense places on the planet. And you really do feel like you're living in the jungle in Costa Rica, in the Osa.
I've heard that about Costa Rica in general,
Yeah.
but maybe Osa is where that statistic is really originating from. That's where the action
Yes.
is in terms of biodiversity.
Yes.
How would you describe the difference between, well, first, the Pacific side versus the Atlantic side of Costa Rica? Because I know that there's hotspots all along in terms of wellness and spirituality, but how does the Pacific side compare in your opinion?
I every square kilometer of Costa Rica, you cannot put like it's really hard to describe it. It just changes so much because there's all of these microclimates. One of the worst mistakes that people make is to check the weather report before they come. We have
Mm.
so many people, in February and March, which is the driest months of the year. It's going to rain, and I'm like, please. Don't worry about it. Like the weather
No.
report does not know what it's going to say. And then of course we have like the Pacific side and the Caribbean side. You call it the Atlantic side. We usually
No,
refer to it as the
Caribbean.
Caribbean side. And they're just completely two different places. In fact, when I found Blue Osa, I made the trip for the first time to the Caribbean side, partly just to double check and make sure my investment was, correct. And it's a completely different world over there. Because of geographics, there's more of a black population there, black Caribbean population. And with that, they bring like this whole other culture over there in terms of food, in terms of the way that they live, and so you have this very different kind of vibe going on over there. A lot of people go over there. It's kind of like stepping into, I don't know, the Bahamas or Jamaica a little bit. You kind of have that vibe going on. So a lot of people love going to that side, where the Pacific side, it just feels to me a little bit it's just very different. It's hard to pinpoint like the exact wording, but it definitely does have more of a Caribbean vibe, if anybody knows what that means.
A little more groovy. It's got more groove on that
Yes,
side, maybe.
groovy is a good word.
Groovy is a great word. But if somebody was coming to visit Blue Osa, like your place, it's probably a bit far to travel to the Caribbean side, right? They wouldn't be, or how far does it take? How long?
So, if people were going to go to our place, it's actually one of the easiest places to get to, I think. You just land in San Jose National Airport, and then from there, you take what we call like a puddle jumper. They're small planes. They're usually about 16 people,
Hmm.
and you just take a small, short flight. It's about 40 minutes, and then you land in Puerto Jimenez, and then we're a short 20-minute ride from the airport.
Oh, that's
So
great.
it's so easy to get to us. It
That's
it
great.
really is.
Mhm. Okay, so
And
you,
do you
yeah, go
need?
ahead,
I
Lindsay.
just know from when Amir did his trip in Costa Rica, he rented, a 4x4
Yep.
vehicle and was driving on all the dirt roads. And he's like, oh, I wasn't really expecting there to be so many dirt roads. And, it's
Well,
Costa
Nicoya
Rica.
was a bit rough. I got a flat tire in between Nosara and Santa Teresa. There's that road
Yes.
along, and it's rough at times. And
That's a
I'm really
horrible
glad.
road.
It's awful. And even in Santa Teresa, I'm like, guys, this is like, let's get it together here. It's a bit
Yeah.
wild. And how does that compare to the Osa Peninsula? Or do you have paved roads?
We do actually. So first of all, I live on the Osa, which is pretty much frontier land. When I
Mm,
went to Nosara, I actually went there in 2020, and I was just in shock and also horrified at the trek I had to make to get there, and I could not understand for the life of me why this was the yoga mecca or how it became the yoga mecca, because it's just not, in my opinion, it's just not easy to get there, especially if you're driving. To get to us, it's a walk in the park. If you're driving from San Jose, it's not a short drive. It is a little bit of a schlep. That's why we always recommend people fly. But the roads are basically paved all the way from San Jose to our place. The only small portion is from the village to our place, which is about 11 kilometers or 7 miles. And I couldn't believe this. They actually started to pave that little stretch of road. Um, and I thought I would be 6 feet under by the time they'd started paving it. But they did. And it's just, yeah, it's pretty easy to get to our place. It's a road that is typically maintained somewhat.
yeah. I want to make sure I don't come across as poo-pooing Nicoya too much myself. I mean,
I
I am
will.
also, oh, you've got your own opinion on it. I'm also a former, I guess once you're always a Burning Man enthusiast, and sort of the struggle is part of the experience. And especially in
Yes.
Santa Teresa, it's like people, it was funny, Nosara looks more zen. It's still dirt roads, but people are like very like yoga, Lululemon-y, kind of nice. Santa Teresa is rough, and like people are very like hardcore surfers, and they look a little haggard because driving the four by fours the ATVs everywhere. And I would recommend a four by four if you're going on that side. So Blue Osa is probably a little more user friendly. So it's starting to make some distinctions there.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I also, when I went to Santa Teresa, I was also shocked because it's just another place that's not easy to get to. I mean, if you do fly to Santa Teresa, you have to go to this airport, which is a good hour more or less away. And the drive from the airport to Santa Teresa is all on this dirt road for way more kilometers. And so it baffles me that people really get into it. But, each to his own. I think that it's just all good marketing. People always kind of follow the herd mentality. So our kind of struggle, I guess, has always been to share with people like how easy it is to get to the OSA. The other thing about us which is unique, is that we're so remote. And so even though you take the flight and it's easy to get to us, we are kind of at the end of the world. And so I think it kind of stirs a lot of feelings in people differently. But a lot of people that come to us are welcoming it because they feel so disconnected from literally everything. And you are in the jungle in this magical piece. One of the unique things about Blue Osa, which is unlike Santa Teresa and Nosara, is that those places have become very populated. We don't have anything around us. And so when you wake up in the morning, you're not really going to hear anything except the jungle and the ocean.
The cicadas and the howler monkeys
Yes.
and everybody else.
Yes, the howlers like to wake you up about 4 in the morning.
Oh, great. That's probably when it's time to get into your first yoga session, before the sun
Exactly.
rises.
So, Aaron, I was on Google Maps and I was scrolling through reams and reams and reams of five-star reviews that Blue Osa has. And this seems, I'm like, you must put something in the water there because people are coming back really happy. So tell me about the vision that you have of the experience that you're creating and what is Blue Osa all about if you could bring it into a nutshell? What's the core of it?
I would say, and I don't say this with any ego, but it's really a reflection of my own journey in many ways. And I've traveled a lot and seen a lot. And one of the things that I've often found is how few yoga retreat places are really yoga retreats. And even
What
when
do you
I
mean by
went
that?
to
What does that mean?
um, it's that there's no that they're more like vacation hotspots catering to the sort of um, cultural whims of people, consumeristic. Sorry, that was the word I was looking for.
Mm,
Consumeristic whims of sort of this North American mindset, making sure that people have their kale juice rather than embodying the qualities of what it means to be in a yoga place. And so I'll give you examples of, I think, what differentiates us a little bit. So we practice, this is probably the biggest thing that we do differently, is we insist and practice on morning silence. And so we have no talking until 7:30 in the mornings, and we just tell our guests, we practice morning silence. And
mm,
uh, so there's this invitation to be silent, which is a huge thing. We have no internet. We turn off the internet until 7:30, and this creates already an atmosphere of let's just say spiritualness for now, or
yeah.
spirituality, with being surrounded by the awakening jungle. You have the ocean in front of you. So what we do invite people to do is grab their favorite cup of coffee or tea and just go down the ocean and watch the sunrise. And that is huge for so many people that are um, surrounded by technology all the time and news and, for lack of better words right now, noise.
Yeah.
And then we end the morning silence with some chants that we put on uh, that are from the Himalayas. And so people immediately connect to the source through silence and then through the prayers. And so this kind of already starts to set people on a mindset, if you will, and making a very, not only a statement, but also helping people to inwardly connect. And then people go on with their days. We believe very strongly in rituals. Ritual is a huge part of the tradition. So rituals kind of manifest in different ways. Another ritual is that we say an evening blessing for the prayer. An evening blessing for the dinner. And so we always gather at night around the big table in our dining area and then just kind of take a moment to recognize the food and the chefs who prepared it. And I think that also sets us apart. And there's a few other little things here and there. But that, I think, statement of we are really a yoga retreat. If you want to do yoga, this is going to be the one of the places for you to come to.
So that vibe carries out. I know you also welcome hosted groups to come to the property as well. So this
Yes.
container that you're creating is property wide, I'm guessing, on a daily basis. So even if there's a hosted group, they'll plug into this atmosphere and this vibe that you're creating at Blue Osa.
Yeah, we pretty much allow group leaders to kind of do run their program the way that they want, but we also say these are also some of the rituals that we weave into your experience. And it's not, I don't believe it's overbearing. It's more of a way to kind of, it's done for two things. One, to really have people have a true authentic yoga experience when they come to Blue Osa, but also to enhance already what they're doing. So yeah, we do host, this year we're hosting probably about 30 yoga retreats actually.
Wow.
So we have about 30 group leaders coming this year already to lead yoga retreats. And I would say like that's the biggest part of what we do. Is it was always my vision to be like one of the best places to host yoga retreats. And I'll tell you right away that one of the things that sets us apart from every other yoga retreat center, because I've done a lot of being a hidden customer myself. But
Reconnaissance work. You've been a
we
scout.
actually we actually respond to yoga teachers. It's one of the things that they comment on the most. Because when we get an email, if it's during the day, we always respond within a couple of hours, if not sooner. Where a lot of, I've even done this myself, I'll contact a yoga retreat center, and sometimes I don't get a response back for 2 or 3 days, if not ever. And so we always respond to people. And the reason why I bring that up is that we're very customer service oriented and making sure that yoga teachers know that they're coming to a place that they're going to be supported and they don't have to think about anything except teaching their students.
Well, okay, great segue. What if somebody is looking and shopping around for a retreat center to partner with? What are some of the key considerations, in your opinion, they should be thinking about in comparing different locations and different retreat centers? What are some things that should be priorities that they should be looking out for?
I always think, and this is sort of off topic, but I think it's one of the biggest mistakes that yoga retreat leaders make is they don't check with their students on where their students want to travel. And
The
so
destination itself.
that's really important. Like, make sure your students actually want to go to Costa Rica. Like you can be really excited about it, but if your students don't want to go there, and that's how I'm a yoga retreat leader myself. Before I opened Blue Osa, I had led, hundreds of yoga retreats already. And that's kind of why I was able to curate Blue Osa so well. So one of the reasons why I've sold out my yoga retreats really fast is like I'm doing a retreat to India in September and it sold out within like a couple of weeks because I had already been priming my student base for that. But what other considerations were one of the only yoga retreat centers in Costa Rica that's actually on the beach. So if you're looking for a place that's literally on the beach, Blue Osa is a great place for you to come. Um, if you're looking for a place that is authentically aligned with yoga, that would be a great
Yeah,
place to come.
yeah,
And also too, where while we can accommodate a lot of people, our sort of threshold is somewhere between 30 and 36. And so some yoga retreat leaders are looking to bring 50 to 100 people, which I can't personally wrap my head around. But so we do have a threshold around that. But the other consideration that's really great is like you can have all of Blue Osa to yourself because we're sort of in that sweet spot where you don't have to bring a lot of people, but we can accommodate, a good number of people. So we're in that sweet spot where you don't have to bring that many people to have Blue Osa completely to yourself during your retreat for your students. And that's one of the things that I think is really great about us, that people can have us exclusively.
do you require venue buyouts and exclusively, or can people buy blocks of rooms and come with a smaller group, say
We
10 to
we
15 people?
we in the high season we only make the exclusive use option available,
Hmm.
which is reasonably priced. And then in the green season, there's other kind of options where people can buy like packages that contain a block of rooms.
Got
And
it.
so in those group leader packages, they get a certain number of rooms. We include the airport shuttles and a lot of other amenities as well.
Got it. I would love to come to Costa Rica in the wet season. I think that's considered the low season, but I went in
Yes.
the dry season. I went when it was like April when I
It was
went,
April, yeah.
and it was beautiful, obviously, and get a lot of sun, but it was dry. And I want to
Yeah.
see Costa Rica in the full bloom. So the next time I come, I'm going to come in the wet season and get rained on. That's okay, but I want to see all the foliage in full bloom and just feel that lush kind of jungle um, feminine
Oh.
energy just kind of coming at
I,
you.
I think that for whatever reason, Costa Rica has had really bad marketing campaigns. And So a lot of people have had it in their mind, like you'll see people put like the wet season, there's the dry season and the wet
Yeah.
season in their price points, which is really bad verbiage. And so when people talk about the rain season or the green season in Costa Rica, they think like it's raining all the time, and it's just not true. Me personally, my favorite times of the year, I have a couple, but one of them is August. And August is this moment because we've already had some rain after the dry season and things are full lush, and because it rains at night, you have these spectacular sunrises in the morning, like this
Ooh.
dance of sun in the morning, because of there's a little bit of clouding, and because some of the rain from the night before, and that's usually when it rains is in the evening time or nighttime. And so because you have like the rains that are leaving, you have these incredible sunrises and even sunsets that happen. And everything is so vibrant and clear, and you have this kind of mix of everything. So the green season is my favorite time to be in Costa Rica,
And there's great deals
personally.
because not everybody's going during that time too. So if you want to do a venue buyout, you can host your retreat for a great deal at that time.
And
Um,
yes, and it's cheaper.
Okay. That's
because
awesome.
nobody
Yeah,
else knows
August.
about it. It's like I don't know
August
what the
is the
problem
time to
is.
go.
Exactly.
So we talked about some of the considerations about getting a venue, but since you're a retreat leader yourself and you host so many retreats, what are some do's and don'ts tips for a retreat leader that is organizing the retreat? Like, what should they like? I kind of want to ask, like, what are some major fails you've seen? But I also want to frame it in the positive too. But like, what makes for a great retreat experience in addition to asking your students where they want to go?
I think that, well, I just mentioned one of them, like, do your students actually want to travel there? And so a lot of people, like my friend, one of my dearest friends was going to do a retreat in Bali, and she was talking about it, but she never asked her students if they wanted to go. She just assumed that they wanted to go. And I said something to her a couple of months ago about Bali, and she says, "Oh no, I canceled it. Nobody was signing up." And it's such an effort to organize a retreat and put all of that information together just to find out that your students never wanted to travel there. So one of my best advices is to do like some sort of pre-marketing campaign. Survey your students, share with them like, hey, I went to this place. Would you be interested? Look at the food and look at, their service. And you start to just generate a lot of interest. I call this the pre-marketing. And if you do that and then you actually ask people, hey, would you like to go there? You keep a record of all the people that said yes. And then when you come out with your early bird specials, then those are the people you're targeting, and you can fill your retreat sometimes even before you've really started your marketing launch. Another big mistake that I see constantly, and this is epidemic, this is a pandemic actually in the yoga world, is that people just don't go to yoga retreats. I don't understand this. I'm always personally horrified at the number of people that don't travel.
Organizers aren't themselves
Organizers,
going to yoga retreats.
they don't know where they're taking their students, and that can leave a lot of stress for them personally, because when their students are asking them questions, they don't know how to respond. They're not really authentically promoting the venue, like, this is the place I went to. And I think that when you do your own market or your own scouting trip, that you're taking all the photos, you're talking to the manager, you're interviewing it, you're live streaming it, maybe have a meeting with the owner and live stream that. So there's just so much marketing opportunity, and if you do it correctly, that will set you up, for a lot of successful yoga retreats at that venue. Another one is finding a venue that actually takes care of you. And I see this also, like a lot of yoga retreat centers a lot of yoga retreat leaders try and fit a square peg into a round hole. And this is also a big problem. Like, they go to a retreat and then they expect everything that they had in the US, or they expected everything that they had at another retreat center. And not all retreat centers are created equal, first of all. So make sure you know where you're taking your people and that
It's
they
a
are
notoriously
responding.
unregulated industry. Every one of them are
Yeah,
completely
well,
You might
different.
not know what you're getting into.
but also when you find a gem like Blue Osa, that don't try to make us something that we're not. We're very clear about who we are. And if you don't like it, don't come to us.
Yeah.
Like, and that's
Yeah.
part of your scouting trip is making sure that if you want to eat like meat every single meal and have red meat because that's your yogic belief, then you should make sure like that retreat center is serving red meat every single meal. If you want vegan raw food and you're horrified that the retreat center isn't serving vegan raw food, well then you should know that before you bring
Yeah.
people there.
Yeah.
So be very clear about who they are and what they are, and that their yoga space is really a nice one. One of the things that I've often found too is that a lot of just hotels um, are kind of tapping into this retreat market. And this is a big problem as well, that they're advertising themselves as a retreat center, but they're not. They don't have a dedicated sacred, and that's a key word there, sacred yoga space for people to come and do yoga. It's like, oh, we have a yoga space. It's around the pool,
Mm-hmm.
under the hot sun. And so that's really important as well. Like, what kind of yoga space do they have? Is it sacred? Is it a dedicated space? And also too, is there like a shrine on the property? So one of the things that makes Blue Osa extra special is that we have a dedicated shrine on our property. And so people can go in there, do rituals as groups. They can also go in there to meditate, and, do their practice as well.
Yeah, 30 groups is a tremendous operation. I mean, I can't imagine what you're planning and dealing with on a day-to-day basis.
Well,
What
why
kinds
don't,
of
since you've
support?
been,
Yeah,
oh,
go ahead, Lindsay.
sorry, I was going to
You have a
go
question?
just a quick, I just wanted to keep talking about the amenities since you were talking about know where you're going. I
Yes.
think we'll get to the support question, but on your property, like if somebody was going to book a retreat, how many rooms are there? I know you say you have a threshold, 30 to 36 people, but are they like
Yep.
dedicated rooms? You can go doubles and singles and share rooms and all of that. You got your shrine, bathrooms, en suites. Talk about what you have on the
Yeah,
property.
sure. We have 13 rooms on property. And those 13 rooms, a lot of most of them are shared rooms. So we designed it to be a place where people could come and have individual, retreats themselves, like, private retreats, or that it would be an ideal place for group leaders. So a lot of our rooms can be used as singles, doubles, and triples, and there's actually a couple of rooms that can be used as quads as well. So it just really depends on the group leader. Most group leaders that come to us, the happy place is somewhere between 20 and 24 people, 26 people even. But then, some group leaders just like to bring as many people as possible, mostly because they're in demand. And so, but the really cool thing about being at Blue Osa is there could be a group of 36 people, but you could be sitting somewhere and think that you're the only one on the property. So there's a lot of space for people to, I guess, kind of spread out or hang out and commune together.
Nice. And then the support, I think where Amir was about to go was, 36, having that many groups come through and that many people on site. What is the support that you guys offer for the retreat leaders?
On
And
on
how do they
site
plan their
and
meals?
in the planning process as
Yeah, and the
well.
planning.
Yeah, in the planning process, we offer support in terms of, our own marketing, lane. So people come to our website. We have an upcoming retreats page. That's one of the most viewed pages on our
Nice.
website is the upcoming retreats page. And so that's a great place for group leaders to showcase their retreat. We also occasionally post stuff on social media, and then we send out a monthly newsletter which includes upcoming yoga retreats in that newsletter. So people are also finding out about what's upcoming through different marketing arms on our end. So that's a big support that we offer to group leaders. We also offer support like in terms of getting people from San Jose to Blue Osa. So we always tell group leaders like we have our own travel agency that we work with. So we book people's we call them the puddle jumper flights. So we get people from San Jose to Blue Osa. And so we're able to field a lot of their groups questions, which is a huge support to them because they don't have to deal with, answering all of those questions. They're just like, contact Blue Osa and they'll take care of you. We also have an international travel agent that we have on hand for our for groups as well. So that's also a big support.
Wow.
Being a
Yes.
group leader, like as I'm planning this trip to India, one of the things I'm so thankful for is my international help. And I just say, go talk to Sherry. And she takes care of everything. Yeah.
That's really great. And as a retreat leader, it's amazing to work with a venue led by another retreat leader as well. So they know all the challenges you're facing in terms of planning, even coordinating your programming and laying it out. It's a tremendous support and help because there's so many moving pieces to creating a retreat experience. It's not just meals and yoga sessions. There's so many pieces involved. Um,
Yeah.
Before we were talking about site visits, I mean, we were talking about giving an opportunity for retreat leaders to visit the venue, but you are having a focus now on personal retreats. Is what in our vernacular we use the word personal retreats, which is people that can go outside of a group program to a retreat center and have their own experience. And I know you've got a series of packages that you've launched. Can you tell us a little bit about opportunities for people, individuals or couples, to come and have an experience at Blue Osa outside of the potentially group programs that are going on?
Yeah, sure. People, what I've found, especially since opening Blue Osa, is that so many people love to have a package that they can just have everything included and not think about like, oh, do I need to get this or get that? And so we've curated 4 different packages. We have a detox package, which focuses on detoxing. We have a spa package where people have a yoga practice every day as well as a spa treatment so they can get their favorite spa service every day. We also have a dedicated yoga package where people get individual and customized personal sessions that are included in their package. And then we have what we call is the best of Costa Rica, which is probably one of my favorite packages because it includes yoga, it has a spa treatment, and then it also has some of our favorite tours, jungle hikes and jungle tours included in it so people can get a taste of, Costa Rica, but also have the best of the yoga and the spa included. And those packages include flights from San Jose, Costa Rica, not San Jose, California.
California.
No,
Yeah.
not
You got to caveat it.
Do you know how many people have said, I just booked my flights to San Jose, California?
Oh no.
Oh my God.
And and then so then we take care of them basically once they get to Costa Rica.
Nice. So these are not part of a group. You can kind of plug into your own schedule. Are there sort of
Yes.
blackout dates or whatever, or can somebody just come in whatever dates are appropriate for them?
Whatever dates are available, and people can go onto our reservation system and then see what's available, and book, their own, choose what dates. We do have a minimum of 4 days. So people, if they're looking to book a package with us, we have a minimum stay of 4 days. The ideal time, which I always suggest to people, is 6, 7, 8 days. That's kind of the sweet
Nice.
spot. I would actually say 7 days because it usually takes like 2 or 3 days for people to drop in. On a typical week when we have our group retreats, it's always Saturday to Saturday. And I always see that it's by Wednesday when people start to drop
Yeah.
in. And start to shed their life. And so it takes people some time to decompress.
Mm.
So that's why I always suggest, 7 days is sort of my favorite retreat length at minimum.
And
I totally agree.
how do like meals work for somebody like that? Would they come in? You guys have an on-site chef or restaurant? Or is it only vegetarian? Do you offer meat? What do you guys have?
We no, we have a menu. We have a weekly menu, and we offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We also have a smoothie bar, so if people need sort of I guess if you want to call it an afternoon snack, or morning snack, they can go get a smoothie. And we offer these amazing tropical smoothies, as you can imagine, being
Mm.
in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
And also we have offer cold pressed juices as well. And so we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as you can imagine. It's mostly vegetarian. And we do offer fish in the week. There's one day when we offer fish, and then we also offer chicken options. So for our vegetarians, we just do something different. What I find is probably about 90%, 95% of people coming are meat eaters.
Mm.
So that's like, we have to kind of manage all of these different things. And we do it, I think we do it pretty skillfully. After 15 years, we've kind of got it down
Well,
now and how to manage some of the different food requests that we get.
great.
I'm
I
just
think those were.
scrolling around here. So people can come individually or as a couple or even a small group. You don't have to like organize a whole retreat. Even if you got like 4 or 5 people, you can come in and get one of these packages and enjoy Blue Osa with your friends. I love
Yes.
that. Or even like I think I was making reference before, if a retreat leader wants to go in and have a site visit in their planning process, it's a great,
Hmm.
you got to check with your accountant, but it might be a tax deductible trip down to Blue Osa in order to do some
R and
R&D,
R.
some research and
Yeah.
development.
R and R
No,
always.
R&R isn't tax
Absolutely.
deductible. R&D is.
R&D. R&D.
Absolutely. It's absolutely a tax deduction for people to come to Blue Osa if you're a group leader.
We're kind of thinking about getting kind of retreat finder hosted site visit tours going on too. I know some folks are doing that in the industry, and just to take a group of folks and say like, let's go on a road trip and check out a bunch of cool sites that are in our network. So putting that
Absolutely.
out in the universe, putting it on our list of things to do.
Our list of 1,000 things. Everybody has 1,000 things. We just need to go to a retreat ourselves to take a break.
Well, and also too, for group leaders that are wanting to do site visits, most retreat centers will offer anywhere from a comp stay to a discounted stay. And so that's also a great thing. Not only is it a tax deduction, but you're also getting, a discounted to a comp stay. It just depends on, what the person wants, obviously. But that's a huge, deal as well, because you can go and take a vacation and get either a very discounted vacation to either a comped vacation.
Mm.
And that it makes it a lot of fun. And that's why when I remember I did my first trip in Costa Rica, I did this road trip and I got like all of these kind of comped stays as I was traveling around Costa Rica. It was so much fun.
Well, please, if you're listening to this, please have a legit kind of retreat that you're planning. So you're not like, I don't have a bunch of
Yes.
people going around saying, Retreat Finder said I could get a free night at your place.
Yeah,
Yes.
make
Oh,
sure.
no, 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 no.
Yeah, amazing.
Absolutely.
So I love this idea of the individuals coming for retreat as well. I'm really pitching destination retreats as an alternative to vacations. If someone like the group programs, everybody knows pretty well what that is. You're in there doing a lot of group processes, but I really want to encourage people to consider taking family vacations and treat it as a destination retreat instead of just going to, your traditional resort and sitting and having, drinks on the beach.
Yeah.
So it's these individual packages and these mini packages are an amazing opportunity to have a retreat experience without the full structure of a group program, which can at times be a little bit more intensive. I mean, I know they're meant to have a lot of free space, but at times the group structures can go deeper and be a little bit more intensive. But these individual packages, I think, are a great way to get R&R as an alternative to, a traditional vacation.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that people often say, especially our individual guests, is that when they're leaving Blue Osa and re-entering back into their life is how refreshed and revitalized they feel. And I don't want to diss, the typical vacation model, which is go on the beach, go to a beach resort and drink as much as you can. Because, I've kind of done that too. But one of the things that I've observed is like when I go on a retreat experience myself is that I leave feeling much better, more clear-headed, and that questions, the answers to questions that I've had about my life are answered, and that's invaluable. So if you're kind of a person that, I mean, the list is long. You don't feel at home inside your body. You feel the weight of life kind of pressing on you. You have a lot of questions that you're answering, looking for answers to. You kind of feel like you need to do a detox, or you just feel like you need some love and care. I mean, Blue Osa is an amazing place if you just want people to love you and take care of you. Just our staff alone, really holds space for you just to be at, that at Blue Osa and go above and beyond taking care of you. So if you fall into any of those categories, or you just want some adventure and kind of move your body for a week because you haven't moved it in a while, that this really is a great place to come. And a lot of people book those, as you said, those kind of retreat-esque kind of experience vacations because they're looking for something more than just sitting on a beach doing nothing and drinking for the entire week. That they're looking to come out actually feeling revitalized, refreshed, and renewed.
Yeah. And is Blue Osa, you were mentioning the ease of accessibility. Is it somewhere that um, virtually everybody, different physical capabilities can come to Blue Osa? I mean, I would recommend, I mean, my experience at Santa Teresa was it's kind of rugged, and I would caution people who have low mobility to consider not going to Santa Teresa. Is Blue Osa a little bit more accessible to people that might be a little older in age or maybe less able to handle physical kind of ruggedness?
I would say that if you're able to walk around, then, if you've got two legs that work, then that, we're definitely welcoming to everybody. And if you're coming in a group retreat, just talk to the group leader before you come to make sure that their classes, what kind of classes they're teaching. One of the things that we're really great for is, especially in our yoga packages, is catering to people that have never done yoga before, or catering to people who have very minimal yoga experience, or catering to people that are dealing with issues. Because of that customized experience, we're able to customize the classes and customize, obviously, through the one-on-one practices. So it's such a great place. We've had a lot of people come that are recovering from some sort of surgery or hip replacement or knee issues or whatever they're going through, and that can come because they're getting such a customized experience.
Amazing. I think that is so valuable to have 13 rooms, 30-person accommodation. I imagine it being an intimate setting. I imagine it being secluded but not isolated. I imagine there being opportunities to be in community with the rest of the whoever's staying at the property in meal times, but then being able to go off and have your solo time at the same time. I'm saying I imagine because I haven't been to Blue Osa yet. It's definitely going to be on my next up list. Um, and I think it's great that you've got this opportunity for retreat leaders to do a site buyout for the exclusive use of the property, as well as in green season. We'll use the word green season to potentially do room blocks and not have to get the whole place. So if you've got a smaller retreat, you could come in at a lower investment or lower risk and get a block of rooms. And then also you've got that personal retreat experience where people can come in and have individualized, customized experiences. So you're kind of doing it all. That sounds amazing. We'll have overlays and we'll have the links in the show notes underneath.
Yeah.
Highly recommend everybody check out Blue Osa and keep your eye out. We're probably going to do a site visit video at some point. So it's on our list.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you have
It's
any,
a very
final words? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think that for Adam and I, Adam is my business partner. When we found Blue Osa, we were both, I was leading a retreat and he was on my retreat and just down the road at this place that we were having the retreat. And so when we came to Blue Osa, and then we came back, during Christmas, we came back a few times a year before we actually opened. And one of the things that always kind of struck us was being in this space, being on retreat. And we've seen this numerous times with people that come to our space and have a retreat experience that, so many of us are looking for answers to our questions in life. And because we're in that rat race, or that, wheel of life that's just turning and turning, we never kind of pause for a moment to contemplate the answers. And what I've kind of witnessed through personal experience as well as watching people is how much they find answers to their questions. And, it's often times that we can just see windows of our life opening up, and that in that space of stillness, surrounded by nature, surrounded by love, surrounded by good food, surrounded by breath, that we're able to see those windows opening up and kind of see different possibilities of what our life can be. And that is profound for people to have that experience if you're willing to have it. So I would just say, if you kind of feel like that you want that experience, come and visit us.
Ooh, well, that's a great pitch. I love it.
That's my elevator pitch.
It's your elevator pitch. It's your beach pitch. There's no elevators in Blue Osa.
No elevators.
Trees on the beach. Listen, you got to make the space. You got to make the space. You got to make the time to invest in yourself, and we all do. Even us in Retreat Finder, we're oftentimes behind the computer in our big cities, and so even we have to sometimes pause and say, okay, we need to go take a breath. We need to go create space to have these answers, to allow these answers to emerge. And it's not going to happen. I mean, you may stumble on a rock and get answers in the midst of your big city life, but it's much more conducive to do it in the right atmosphere, surrounded by the right people.
All right. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to join us. And as we said, we'll pop all the links below so they can find out about Blue Osa. And you might be seeing Retreat Finder there someday too.
Yahoo!
All right. Thank you.
Amazing. We're going to stay on and do some chatting after the recording. But thanks, Aaron, so much for showing up and telling us about your property.
Thank you for having me, and looking forward to having more people from the Retreat Finder community to come and join us.
Great.
Absolutely.